The Prime Minister on the record about the recent firings. The Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge receiving overwhelming support. And a 3-day blockchain conference is officially underway.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news, the nation's leader is speaking for the first time since terminating 3 members of his party from their government jobs. The positions were revoked yesterday, less than 24 hours after the 3 FNM MPs voted against the government's decision to increase value-added tax by some 4.5%. The nation's leader telling reporters on Grand's Bahama today that as Prime Minister, he has a responsibility to do what is right. Italia Hall explains.
The Prime Minister arrived on Grand Bahama today to officially open the blockchain conference. Now, our ZNS News team was waiting on the Prime Minister to get his comments on the terminations. Now, while he did not address each specific case, he said he was simply doing his job as Prime Minister. The 3 FNM MPs were given letters of termination from their government jobs. As a result, MP for Pine Ridge Frederick McAlpine is no longer the chairman of the Hotel Corporation. MP for Baines and Grandstown Travis Robinson Post as parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation was revoked, and Member of Parliament for Golden Isles Vaughn Miller's position as parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of Social Development was withdrawn. The nation's leader was asked about the firings, and he says that as Prime Minister, he has a responsibility to follow cabinet rules and regulations.
I cannot allow my personal views to get into democracy. We have a parliamentary procedure, and I must adhere, respect, and ensure that the parliamentary procedure lives on and is honored and respected thoroughly. We are a democratic society. We practice the Westminster system, parliamentary procedure, and I have certain obligations, and I will ensure that I adhere to my obligations. I'm committed to that, and I must ensure that democracy must always be in the forefront, and democracy must always prevail. I have a responsibility, and I will not shun away from my responsibility.
The budget was passed in the House of Assembly on Monday night and is currently before the Senate for debate. Once approved, the budget is expected to solidify the country's fiscal agenda for the next year. Prime Minister Minnis says this budget has everything to do with the future growth and development of the Bahamas.
I don't concentrate on just what is today. Sometimes one has to make difficult decisions today so that you can have a better tomorrow. And I focus more on tomorrow, but at the same time ensuring that one has a great today.
But many Grand Bahamians continue to question the government's decision to levy an increase in value-added tax when the local economy continues to struggle. The
Bahamas were poised for 2.5% growth. There are many projects that are coming on stream very soon at Grand Bahama, and we made some decisions that we think would be better for the Bahamas. You see what is happening in Barbados, and I have said, and I would repeat again, I do not want to leave a Bahamas behind where a future Prime Minister on his first day in office must call some international financial agency for rescue. That is not fair to any future government, and it's my job to ensure that I place the Bahamas in the best possible footing for a future generation.
Now, the Prime Minister ended his interview by saying that he is committed to the people of Grand Bahama, and once Grand Bahama succeeds, the entire country will be successful. In the News Center for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Italia. Pine Ridge Member of Parliament Frederick McAlpine, one of the 3 MPs fired from their government jobs yesterday. He returned home last night with scores of supporters cheering him on. McAlpine says he was surprised and moved by the show of support, and says he still maintains that his no vote to VAT was in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
The FNM and the Prime Minister can find me 50 times over. But what I feel here today and what I've seen here today makes me want to keep fighting.
Less than 24 hours after voting no to the 4.5% increase in VAT, Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge Frederick McAlpine was handed a letter by the Prime Minister relieving him of his duties as chairman of the Hotel Corporation of the Bahamas. That very same day, McAlpine returned home to Grand Bahama to a hero's welcome. During the process, 3 other Free National Movement parliamentarians also voted against the raise in VAT. The Pine Ridge MP says that he is proud they all voted for what they believe is in the best interest of the country, despite the repercussions.
There was a lot of pressure on us yesterday to change our votes, but we were determined that we were not going to change and that we were going to stand with the people in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We need the people to understand and recognize. We said it's about the people and it's the people's time. Well, why not let the people have their way and feel that they should have their say, okay, in their country? I want to see the small man given an opportunity to elevate in their own country. We're tired of having to always have to kowtow to others. We're tired of always having to be the person who has to be employed. Why can't we be the employers? Why, for the love of God, can you tell me how you could sell the Bahamian people sand and make money and the rest of us with our mouths as if we're hungry? That's our sand. So if anybody's going to be paid, it ought to be the Bahamian people. So there's no way you're going to take our sand, you're going to take our money, you're going to take everything, our airspace, our oceans. It belongs to the people of the Bahamas. Why is it that a few people in this country can get rich off of what belongs to the people that God gave to us?
The Pine Ridge MP says that if the Prime Minister had raised VAT to 10% instead of 12%, he would have considered it a compromise. He adds that the economy of Grand Bahama is not growing and that residents cannot handle this raise.
Before you extend VAT, you should at least try to grow the economy. The economy has not grown. People are still unemployed. People are making $210 a week. And then you have to also understand, when I used to could go to the food store with $1, I now have to go with 88 cents. And so it is difficult. It is hard. And people do not know where the next dollar is coming from. You have households where only one person is working in the whole house to carry the whole house. And so it's very difficult. And to me, this is not about PLP, FNMs, and this is about Bahamians.
And going forward,
I remain in the FNM until they say otherwise. But as for me, I do not put party over country. My country first. It's God, country, and then party. And if the party is not going to go with the country, I will say to hell with the party. I'm sticking with the country.
Now, hundreds turned up at the Grand Bahama International Airport yesterday to support Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, Frederick McAlpine. Residents Darren Cooper and Jennifer Ellis say they decided to head to the airport to show their full support for McAlpine after standing his ground and voting against the VAT increase.
We thank you for all the sacrifices that you've made for the people of Grand Bahama, and we just thought it was fitting that we meet you to the airport to show you that we support you and we're standing with you, and so that's why we're here today.
It's a hard pill to swallow. It's like taking a pill without water, and right now the economy needs to grow. We need some jobs. I mean, those mothers that are struggling, working for the hotel and only working 1 or 2 days, I shudder to think how they're making it.
Members of the religious community also were part of the crowd yesterday. Pastor Philip Monroe and Pastor Kenneth Fowler say they support McAlpine as a colleague and they applaud the courage that he showed by sticking to his convictions. As it relates to the VAT increase,
it takes a lot of courage for any individual to take a stand against the majority vote, and he showed a great deal of courage and a great deal of boldness as far as the VAT increase is concerned. I feel that for Grand Bahama, the percentage increase, it's a bit too high, too fast.
Listen, we voted in the government to do what they think is best for us. At this time, Grand Bahama in particular, we're feeling the pinch here, and I know they know this. Deputy Prime Minister lives here, so I believe that he is doing also what he thinks is best. We think, or wish it had been further down the road, but I believe they are doing the best for the country as they see fit.
7 parliamentarians were not available to vote on the VAT increase and on the budget on Monday night. And ZNS News has learned that they were all out of the country on official government business. At the time of the vote, MP for Central Grand Bahama Aram Lewis and Minister of Works Desmond Bannister were in Hong Kong. MP for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, was in London, while MP for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, MP for South Abaco, James Aubrey, MP for Tall Pines, Don Saunders, and MP for South Andros, Picewell Forbes, were in the Cayman Islands attending a parliamentary conference. In other news, the Office of the Prime Minister hosting a major conference here on Grand Bahama. The 3-day parley opened this morning at the Grand Lucayan Resort, focusing on the benefits of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Government officials believe this new technology will position Grand Bahama as a technology hub. The conference was officially opened by the nation's leader. Our Talia Hall was there.
Day 1 of the Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Conference attracted hundreds of international and local investors. Some 445 persons have registered to learn more about blockchain, as it is one of the fastest growing sectors in the technology field across the world. Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis officially opening the conference. He says the conference represents an important step towards the government's new mission for the country.
There is no reason why these new blockchain technology companies that have their eyes on global markets cannot have their base of operations here in the Bahamas. I do not think it would be too far-fetched for me to say that the next generation of Bahamian millionaires and possibly billionaires could earn their wealth in the technology sector. What we do here at this conference is the first step in that journey, a journey that we cannot accomplish alone, which is why our international friends and partners must play an integral and important role in all of this.
Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says this event is one of the first recommendations that was made by the Grand Bahama Tech Steering Committee. He firmly believes that Grand Bahama is uniquely suited to become an internationally recognized tech hub, and come July 27th, the Office of the Prime Minister will embark on a new initiative with the Ministry of Education that seeks to benefit young people.
50 high school students in Grand Bahama and 100 high school students in Nassau will begin a first-of-its-kind high-tech summer training program, where over the next 3 summers and before they graduate high school, they will have obtained IT certifications.
President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Mick Holding, says for years now Grand Bahama has focused on the tourism and industrial sectors.
To add a third major sector helps to insulate us from the inevitable market fluctuations experienced from time to time in the other sectors, and brings much needed employment opportunities in this totally new area.
Alive is the title partner. Chief Alive Commercial Officer Gravette Brown says the company is at the forefront in helping to support all efforts to deepen the economic development of the island.
It is one of the reasons why we've welcomed this opportunity to dialogue as a telecom infrastructure partner in the needed discussion around continuing the advancement of technology and other forms of economic development, not only here in Grand Bahamas, but throughout the Greater Bahamas.
Now the conference will close out on Friday right here at the Grand Lucayan Resort. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
Now to news from the court. 20-year-old J.C. Jeffrey Simmons of Pinedale, 8 Mile Rock, was arraigned before Magistrate Gwendolyn Claude on the charge of attempted murder. Simmons was not required to enter a plea, and bail was denied. The matter was adjourned to September 13th for a voluntary bill of indictment to be served. Simmons is accused of stabbing a 23-year-old man about the body in the area of a construction site in Pinedale 1 week ago. The victim, a resident of West End, remains hospitalized in stable condition. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after this break.